basically, okay, today, there's so much confusion over viruses and malware and whatnot. This is a follow-up on Tony's presentation we had a couple of weeks ago, which was really excellent. And so I just want to touch base, and I'm going to distill the whole malware thing. And malware seems to be so confusing because there's so much of it. How do we get rid of it? What do we do? So I'm going to make it really, really simple with a couple of steps we're going to do, which is pretty much on the first page. Two little things I'm going to be talking about, but I want to drill it into your heads so you know this is what you have to do and not worry about this malware and your computer being taken over anymore. It's going to be over. So that's my goal today, is to show you a couple of these things. Right on the sheet here, malware. It's software that is specifically designed to disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access to a computer system. It's that simple. They're crooks. They want to do many different things for many different reasons. And we're going to discuss how, if you decide that you want to download a file, which is even questionable, how we're going to be able to test it before we actually open the file up. That's the first section that we have over here on page 1. And on page 2, I'm going to show you how to prevent any kind of malware to take hold in your computer. And we're going to go over that with all the 4 different browsers that we have down here: Edge, Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Internet Explorer. Someone still using Internet Explorer? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but, on your printed page, for browser number 1, you go to Google when the browser is actually Chrome.
Yes. Does everyone know that Google and Chrome, it's a typo? Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate it. It is Google Chrome, which is a browser. So I put browser. Google browser is called Chrome, but I didn't put Google Chrome, so you could put Chrome there. And we're going to go over that. Everyone, as far as the browsers go, how many use Google Chrome? Primarily. Okay. How many use Mozilla Firefox? Primarily. 2, 3. Okay. And how about the Edge? Okay. And stragglers with Internet Explorer, including myself, I use occasionally. A few. Okay, so we're going to go over all those, and I'm going to show you what it looks like and what you have to do to protect yourselves. All right, I'm going to pull up my website here. As a matter of fact, I have a company called Safety Harbor Computers. Although I'm here living at the top of the world and helping out the computer club, I'm still running my company from my home office. And I just rolled out a new website, and I just want to put this up here real quick. Hold on a second here. And yes, and scroll this down to virus removal. And this is what we're talking about over here. Now all these viruses, a rootkit. These are various viruses and malware. Malware and viruses are really close cousins, and they really do damage to the computers. And there's different types. The rootkit being the most severe, because you don't even know it's there many times. And the Windows Defender will be able to identify these and remove these as long as it's up to date. And we'll go over that. So the rootkit is the software that enables administrative access to a computer while actively hiding its presence from users by hiding the master boot record. That means before the computer even boots up, it initializes itself. It means monitoring user activity, accessing logs, executing files, and even changing the computer's configuration. So those are that's the most dangerous one. I'm going to tell you all the bad stuff, and then I'm going to show you how you can prevent from getting this in the first place. Spyware. It's software that self-installs on a computer, enabling information to be gathered about your internet use. Passwords, credit card information, without your knowledge, and distributing for malicious use. So the spyware is pretty much what we would consider keyloggers that come in emails and stuff like that. We're going to touch on that later. Adware. Adware is any software package which automatically displays or downloads advertisements, marketing material to your computer. These can be in the form of toolbars, pop-ups that sit on your desktop or work in conjunction with your web browser, specifically Internet Explorer, because that's the most vulnerable. While adware alone is harmless, some adware may come with integrated spyware and other privacy invasive software. The bot. When a bot infects a machine, it typically sits quietly as a background application and awaits for instructions. An entire network of machines infected with a particular bot is called a botnet, and the individual computers are often called zombies. Now, bots generally do not do much on a computer until the owner of the botnet sends out instructions to the infected machines. The zombie machines can be used to send out email spam to messages or other malicious and illegal activities such as hacking into a server with sensitive information, which means that you are just being used. You're a user that is enabling their dirty work to be expanded exponentially. That's what a bot is. Okay, Trojan, everyone heard about Trojan viruses or Trojan malware. It's a program that appears to be legitimate, but performs some illicit activity when it is run. It may be used to locate sensitive information, password information, making the system more vulnerable, or simply destroy programs or data. A lot of people heard about programs. Say, for instance, you get a virus and it wipes out all of your office files completely, unless you pay a ransom. It didn't be ransomware, but it's like a ransom. They ask you to pay a certain fee, and then they'll release the actual password for you to go get your files back. We haven't seen that in the last 2-3 years, but I'm sure we're due for another one coming up. And then the last one I put down here, worms. They're quite similar to viruses in that they usually spread with the transfer of an infected file. Now, worms usually try to spread themselves and infect as many computers as possible. They can take up memory, network bandwidth, and oftentimes destroy files. So those are all of the iterations of what people use to get the information they need to steal from you. Now, close this back out here. We're going to go over a couple of ways to protect yourselves right out of the gate. Okay, so we're going to go over here. It says over here, when you download a file, wherever, usually by default, the Windows 10 operating system, unless you change the default download location, will go into a file called download, a folder called downloads. Now, how do we get there? Well, if you look here at the very bottom, this is your files, which is your File Explorer. And if you look in the downloads folder, I said when we download a file, it goes by default into this folder that we're looking at right here, downloads. And it says click on date modified to show the new download. You see date modified right up here at the top? This will put it in order. In other words, the latest one first. This will make it very easy, especially if you have 500 downloads. It'll put the actual folder that just downloaded to your computer at the top of the list. Then what do? Wait a second, please. What do? We right-click over here. It says right-click on the file and then scan with Windows Defender's My Antivirus. So you click over here, and it's going to scan it, and it didn't find any threats, and it's safe to open. All right? So remember that if you have a file that you downloaded before you execute it, no matter what, just as a quick test, just go to that folder, right-click on it, and then make sure you're very confident that folder is not going to be infected. Then you can launch it, and you're in business.
Does it,
Yeah, Tony, go ahead.
doesn't Windows Defender automatically check for that type of activity?
You would think, but that's not always the case. Yes?
Okay, just want to point out that the date modified is a toggle, and if you click it once, it'll put it may put it in reverse chronological order. If you click it again, it'll put it in regular chronological order, or the other way around, depending.
Yes, and watch how we do
So,
that.
right.
You see that? It's 2018 now, you tap it again. So in other words, it's like an email. You can actually see the last one or the first one. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah, Scott, does Caris Doctor take care of that?
No,
It doesn't do the scan.
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm just showing you two things that you
Yeah,
could
okay.
do
No,
to
no.
make your life really, you feel a lot more comfortable about surfing. Question here.
If you do, bring that up on the screen and you see something that you don't recognize, can you delete it?
Yes. Say for instance, we want to delete this Windows, this Libre Office file. I right-click on it,
Okay.
delete,
There it is,
and it's gone. Or you could highlight it and hit delete on your computer keyboard. Same effect.
okay. Right.
Is Security Essentials from Microsoft the same product as Defender?
Microsoft Security Essentials is equivalent to Windows Defender on a Windows 7 machine.
Oh, I
They
see.
changed the name.
They changed,
They changed the name
Right.
when they went to Windows 10.
That's what I have.
Ah,
okay? We're good to go. So now, any other questions regarding this? All right. So now, I want to talk about the browsers, because this is really the crux of everything. It's the internet. The four main browsers, again, you have the Edge, you have Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and we also have Internet Explorer. The one that we discovered that most people are using is Chrome. All right, so here's Chrome. Now, I put over here, first open your browser, which I just did. And I said on the computer, you're gonna hit Control-Shift, which is at the bottom left of your keyboard, and you're gonna hit N. So Control-Shift and N brings up an incognito window. What is that? Okay.
Untraceable.
Now you can browse privately and other people who use this device won't see your activity. However, downloads, which we just discussed, and bookmarks will be saved. Right? So the bookmarks, as you can see at the very top of the list, are still available to click on and use incognito. Chrome won't save the following information: your browsing history, cookies and site data, information entered in forms, websites you visit, your employer or school, and your internet service provider. So essentially, what is happening a lot is a lot of my customers, including everyone here, says, oh wow, this big thing popped up on my computer when I clicked on a website and I can't get out of it. I can't get out of it. What do I click on? What do I do? Well, if you do get this through incognito, all you have to do is close it out. When you restart the computer again, it won't remember that infected item that came in because it was instructed not to, because you're going incognito. You could go do the same. It's called a little different with the others. So say, for instance, you want to go and use your, thank you, Firefox. Okay. And I said use Control Shift and P. So Control Shift and P brings up theirs. It's called private browsing. Same thing. This is in every one of the browsers. I'm giving you the simple instructions on how to look for it because you'll never remember otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a Chrome user, and I know if I go to the upper right and there's three dots, that'll give me a drop-down
Absolutely.
menu that gives you an option of incognito, and I would suspect that the hamburger up there.
There is, but I'm
do the
making
same
this
thing.
as simple
Well, no, I
as
think it's
possible.
easier to find something that you see rather than.
Everyone
Okay.
eats different
have to
fruit.
remember
Okay.
the keys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Does this apply with WaterFox as well?
Yes.
Okay.
The difference between WaterFox and Firefox is the Firefox is a 32-bit program, and the WaterFox is identical, but it's a 64-bit program. So they work similar, yes.
Thank you.
You should do this procedure every time you turn the computer on.
Every time you open a browser, remember, open the browser first. Then if you want to go surfing, especially if you're going to go into questionable places, this is a wonderful tool to use. Always. Get in the habit of doing this, and you can actually save some of the sites that you want as a regular one. I don't think you could save a site when you're in private, because it won't remember anything. So if you want to go to a certain site you want to save, open it up, the regular one first, save the site, then hit your Control-Shift-P or Control-Shift-N, and it will be there for you. Does that make sense? Okay, this will really help you a lot. I'm trying to teach a lot of my customers the same thing, and I don't want to tell too many of them because I will be out of business, you know? So, but here it's okay, you know, I want to help as much as I can, and this really works. It's a really good one. I'll close this back out here. Now, there are a few other programs if you wish to have something in addition to the Windows Defender, which takes care of the viruses that Tony talked about a couple of weeks ago, and it runs on the fly, so it's constantly screening. But you have to remember that even though it's screening, Microsoft has to discover that there is a new virus, right? Then they have to write a program for it. Then they have to download it. You have to download it to the computer. Most of us never turn the computers off, and so that update never gets installed in our computer. So you're wondering, oh, doesn't it escape? Yeah, it'll eventually work, but it takes time for that to happen. So if you restart your computer every day, which is probably what I would recommend rather than just letting it go to sleep all the time, it will install these updates on a regular basis. And it's probably safer to do that. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you don't restart the computer, it won't integrate into the software. Right. So, what else could we talk about here? Oh, here. Oh, we're going to go and look at the, I told you that if you want to get something else, we're going to look into the malware ranking and see what the experts think. So you're going to go here, copy this here real quick, copy, paste, go. Come on, talk to me. There you go. All right, so now, this is 2019, brand new rankings, and they're saying the number one is Malwarebytes anti-malware. The most effective free malware remover with deep scans and daily updates. Okay, the pluses and the minuses over here on the left. Detects adware, ransomware, and other threats. Yes, it's good. Works alongside your antivirus program, which means that you can put this on the computer and still have your Windows Defender and not have it interfere with it. But there is no on-demand scans after the free 14-day trial expires, all right? So you'll have to manually do it unless you want to pay for the version of malware which does it automatically. And over here, which is the most important to me, it might conflict with some other security apps. So, I'm going to show you another alternative at the end of this discussion here. The next one. Bitdefender Antivirus Free Edition. User-friendly, clean and simple interface, no options or settings, so you get what you get. Now, if you're thinking about replacing your antivirus software, check Bitdefender Antivirus Free Edition. It has a dedicated anti-malware engine to help you avoid an infection in the first place and mop up any existing problems. So Bitdefender is really good. A lot of people have heard that, I'm sure, here at the Computer Club. And the next one over here, which is free, is called Adware Antivirus Free. And this is easy to use. You can install it along with other antivirus apps. It says poor test results and no web filtering. So this is the third one. This is, I don't know why I'm going over these because I really recommend Malwarebytes if you want to get something. And here's another one called Emsisoft Emergency Kit. And apparently you can get that at Walmart. Slow install and update process, not as effective as resident tools. So why put number 4 on your computer when you can put number 1, you know, and especially free? What I would recommend, and I use consistently, is a wonderful tool, and I'm going to show you how to get there. We're going to go over here to Home and go to Google. So you can have Google in any one of the browsers if you wish, or you can use Bing, but you just type in these words, and I didn't put this on the sheet, so you might want to write this down. ADW. You see, I just typed ADW, and ADW cleaner comes right up here. See it up here at the top? This is wonderful, especially if the computer is running a little slow, you want to tune it up, and you know that there's problems. This cleans all your browsers. It's a browser cleaner and gets rid of viruses, malware. It's really amazing. And I've been using this for 15 years. Malware Bytes just bought it a couple of years ago because it works so well. So all you do is you open it up, you click free download, it's green. And on Chrome, you see at the bottom left here, this is where it will appear. On your Mozilla Firefox, it will appear up here with a down arrow at the top right. And if you download it in Edge, it will appear down here on your taskbar. Right? But we're going to look at here because most of us are using Chrome. So you just click down here. It's opening up the app. I'm going to install it and show you the whole process. Okay, we're going to hit run. Anyhow, why that popped up, I don't know. There it is, yes, we're going to run it. This is one of the tools that I use when I go to my customers' homes and clear out their computers, one of the first ones. No thanks, no feedback. So you just click scan now. And it'll get through, even if it's a really infected computer, it won't run more than 3-4 minutes. It's very fast and it targets certain areas.
Scott,
Yes?
is this similar to C Cleaner?
No.
Okay.
And that's the next one we could talk about because that's a wonderful program as well. All right, what does it show? Your scan is complete, no threats were detected because this is a clean computer. I'm using it for my presentation. But yours will come up with potentially hundreds of problems, at least 6 or 7, which it will clean out of the browser. And these are just attempts by advertisers or whatnot to redirect your information to someone else so they can get paid. So this is a good tool to use. I implore everyone to just type ADW in the Google Chrome app, and it'll come up, run it, and use it. What it's going to ask you to do when it finds that, at the very bottom right, it says skip, it will say restart computer. Always restart the computer. And the reason, again, that we restart the computer is the same reason that I said we're restarting the computer for the updates. With what happens, a lot of these programs are moving around. And what happens, ADW Cleaner will actually identify them. So when the computer turns off, it will remove them before it boots up. Remember, an antivirus program or an anti-malware program cannot remove something that is moving or is actively involved. It can tag it and can't remove it until the computer starts. For that reason, it's like trying to chase a rabbit. You have to wait for the rabbit to be still. And some of those programs, this particular program works very well there. I'll give you an example of something that really has a hard time to be removed. Quick, let me just do this before I answer some more questions. I want to go to, let's see, C drive. Okay. Users, owner. You see, this app data over here. This is a folder, and usually here, all this stuff over here. You can always remove this stuff. I'm not going to have you do this because it's going to be a little complicated for you, and CCleaner will remove this. Lowry. Yeah, but anyhow, I was going to try to see if one of those will be persistent. And just one sec, and Control All. Okay, I'm just trying to delete this and see if there's a straggler. I'm sorry, I went the wrong way. Temp file, Control A, okay, delete. Okay, so, they all went. Generally, there's a couple of programs that are continuing to run and you can't delete them. It'll say try again, try again, try again. You can't delete it because it's moving. It belongs to an open program somewhere on your computer. And that's exactly what viruses do. I'm sorry I took so long to explain that, but does everyone understand that it has to be standing still to be removed? That's pretty much it. All right, so, are there any questions so far? Yeah.
What was the path if you use an Internet Explorer to get the advert?
Okay, Internet Explorer. And it says to hit Control, Shift, and P. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, to get that.
Get the ADW.
Yes. See this? In private browsing, it's right here. It shows you're in private, it's the same thing. And that you'll notice when I close this out, the Internet Explorer should still be up. You see? It's still there. Control, Shift, P, and it puts one on top. If you look at the very bottom right here under E, remember that anytime there's a line under any one of these items on the taskbar, it's opened or it's hidden. So you can click here and it shows they're both there, okay? So that's a wonderful thing about Windows 10, it'll tell you what's happening. So always look for the lines under something to see, you say, where did it go? Well, there it is. You know, it's just, they get it out of your way so you can do other things. That's it. So this, does that answer your question about how it was turned on?
Yeah, once you click that, you're good to go.
Yes, now you could do the same thing here. That darn thing. Well, anyhow, you get the idea. You just put anything you want in the top there. You just type the URL You don't even have to put www anymore. You just put msn.com. It'll figure if it's an HTTP or an HTTPS secure site, and it'll fill all that in for you. So forget the www. You don't even need that anymore. Yes.
If you send an email incognito,
Yes.
will the recipient not know who it is and might it go into spam?
No, it'll work the same way. You can use your email that way.
So if you sent it to me incognito, I would identify it regularly, just as a regular email.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
So Windows Defender does not pick up the malware?
Windows Defender will pick up much of the malware, but as I was explaining, a lot of us, to be prudent and careful, should not rely on anything. It's like the government. We rely on the government? You know, forget about it. They're not going to have,
It's beneficial to have like a different program for malware instead of Windows Defender.
Absolutely.
Like
You can have a supplement malware program, or if you're proactive and every once in a while you run this ADW cleaner that I put on, that should pretty much
Or CC
suffice.
Cleaner.
Okay, let's talk about CCleaner here.
Right.
All right. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna show you. Does everyone, how many people have CCleaner on their computer? Let's see. How many do not have CCleaner on their computer? Would those people raising hands like to see how to get it on your computer? Okay. CCleaner is really wonderful. It does many different things. And so let's check that out here. I'm gonna go here, get out of this browser, go to my favorite browser, Chrome. And I'll even talk to the computer here. I'll hit this little thing. CCleaner. CCleaner, there it is. Welcome to CCleaner and claim your gift. Or CCleaner over here. So you just go right at the top here. It says ccleaner.com. CCleaner. Who told me it was crap cleaner? What, is that what it is?
That's what Tony calls it.
Tony said?
Crap cleaner.
Crap cleaner. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now watch how I do this, because it's imperative that you don't click and pay anything. We don't want any pro, we want the free download. Here it is. So watch how this is done. There's 3 steps you gotta watch. Click on free download, and then you scroll to the bottom. Scroll, scroll, scroll. You see? We don't buy now, we wanna go download. So we're gonna click the download, which is a freebie. And you gotta scroll, scroll, scroll. This is number 3, all the way down here. They try to get you 3 times, right? Hey, download the free version. So once that's the case, let's see. You see it popping up over here. They even give you a nice little dancing doll over here to show you where it's at. So we're gonna click that. CCleaner takes a while to move, so just give it a second. And it'll pop up on top of the screen.
Clicked it too soon?
No, it takes a while. There it goes. Hello? Oh, yeah, maybe I clicked, I
think
clicked
we
it
scrolled
before it
down.
executed. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay, run. Smart screen can't be reached now. There's a software on my computer that's preventing this. It's called Piriform, and I'm gonna get, well, no, Piriform is CCleaner. But check your internet connection. Windows Defender Smart Screen is unreachable and can't help you, or blah, blah, blah. So we're gonna hit run anyhow. This has just started popping up. Does anyone know about this pop-up? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, great. And we have to hit allow. So there's a few steps here, but once it gets on your computer, and we're gonna hit install again. Well, we downloaded it first, we're just installing it now. And now run CCleaner, but we're gonna get rid of this review. We don't need any review notes, so I'm gonna get rid of that little check mark and run cleaner. So here we go. It pops right up. There you go. Okay, so what does it do? Look at the left side. It says Microsoft Edge. Internet cache, the history, the cookies, downloaded history, the last downloaded locations, type URLs, your temporary internet files in Internet Explorer. It's really funny. The new ones, although it doesn't say anything other than Internet Explorer and the Edge, it also gets rid of the cookies and stuff in Chrome as well as Mozilla Firefox. And if you have a lot of garbage on the computer, this CCleaner could take a long time looking for those temporary files for your internet files. Also, it moves all these things that are in bold, as you can see, are the ones that it's going to remove. So, as you can see, it says network passwords at the very bottom here is unchecked. Because if you check that, it's going to remove all your passwords. So, by default, it'll not remove your passwords. And then, so I'm going to go, you could either analyze, or you could run it. I'm going to analyze this first, and it's going to run through pretty quick here. It's saying over here, Edge needs to be closed. Here we go. You remember I said it can't remove anything that is moving. So we got to close Edge. Yes, let's force it closed. And it's going to search all these temp files and blah, blah, blah. You see, Chrome needs to be closed. You see, it's actually cleaning Chrome, and it didn't even say it was, so it's a good thing. Okay, yes, we're going to force it close. All right, so it's showing us over here, there's 641 megabytes that are going to be removed. And if you look at the lion's share was the Internet Explorer temporary internet files. And then over here, system memory dumps. Who ever heard of that? You know, what does that mean? It's stuff that's invisible. And this CCleaner will get rid of a lot of garbage and free up a lot of dead ends on your computer so it could run faster. Right, so let's go here. Okay, and it's showing there's nothing in Chrome, but you can see all the lion's share of the stuff is in invisible stuff. So I'm going to hit Run Cleaner now and continue. And it's just going to get rid of that stuff. It'll happen pretty quickly now that it identified it. And it goes, it goes, it goes. It's going to move along fast after it cleans those cookies. And it will take a long time if your computer is pretty sad. So, but it will make it smile again when it's finished. I'm telling you, this is a good program. It really is, Larry.
I generally clean it a couple of times, but each time it takes something else out of it.
Yes.
Scott, how often should you do this?
Well, once you reach 800 megabytes, a little pop-up in the right bottom side of your screen will appear saying Run Cleaner. It will remind you. And really, 800 megs is not much. I've had 50 gigs worth of garbage on some of my gigabytes. 50,000 megabytes worth of stuff. This stuff is pretty proactive.
Yeah, Scott, it'll also remind you that a new version is updates.
It will remind you all the time because it wants to constantly put it in front of your face so you could purchase something. Do not download another updated version. This works just fine.
Oh, okay.
All right? Use it. When it says update, ignore that. Yes.
Does this, take the place of Dr. Kirsch, or do they do two different things?
Karish Doctor, and Tony gave a really good speech on Karish Doctor, and he's the one that brought it to us. It really helps quite a bit. But even Tony said he likes to run CCleaner in addition to Karish Doctor as a backup to make sure it finds files at Karish
All
Doctor.
software vendors write software to certain specs. So what you see in CC Cleaner may or may not be in Karish Doctor. So some of it's repetitive. It does the same type of activity. It's how the software is written that makes a difference. So you could run 10 of these different programs. It doesn't really matter. It's what the program actually takes care of. Now, I always talk about Karish Doctor because in just the same way you see CC Cleaner, if you go through Karish Doctor, there's 32 steps it goes through. So it covers all these areas, temporary files, the registry, the list is endless of what it takes. So you can really get inundated on which program should I really use. You can use them all. The problem is your machine starts to get cluttered with all kinds of software that, you know, if you don't run it, it sits there. Okay, so CC Cleaner is good, Karish, they're all good. They do the job. So it's a personal kind of thing.
And regarding cluttering the computer, Karish Doctor was designed to run in the background and will clean your computer daily. All right?
Right.
So
CC Clean is not going to run daily. It's only going to run when you start.
you have to force it. It's a manual CCleaner, but it's a very good tool. It's a good tool to use. More than half of us are already using it. Everyone agrees they like it, right? So the ones that aren't using it, you know, it's probably pretty good. Yes, Helen?
Can you use it on Windows 7?
Yes, absolutely. You could use it on Windows 7.
Yeah, do you
Yeah, Mike.
use ADW in conjunction with CCleaner?
ADW Cleaner, it's really funny. This is a very good question. Larry?
Will you quit talking back this so we can hear what he's saying?
ADW Cleaner
Thank you.
would be I would use first, all right? Then, and I've noticed a couple of times after I ran CCleaner, after ADW Cleaner, it found a couple of other things. And just what Tony was saying, some software is written a little different than others. You know, they all have their own idea about what needs to be removed. So the ADW Cleaner, the thing I like about it is so quick and is so effective. It works really good. And Malware, which is the #1 malware remover, bought it. So they, you know, they agree. You know, so check it out. Yeah, Tony.
Should you run the registry cleaner?
Registry Cleaner?
That's right.
Yeah, you could run Registry Cleaner, but I'll tell you what, if you keep your computer relatively clean, the Registry Cleaner, I wouldn't run more than every 6 months.
To find out what it is. What is registry cleaner?
Registry Cleaner, there's many different registry cleaners. Within CCleaner, Tony, there's a registry cleanup here. You see this tool right here? Registry?
Oh.
You can actually click, scan for issues.
Oh.
And it's already telling you that.
Karish Doctor does the same thing.
It does the same
It
thing.
goes to the registry and cleans the registry for you. So it's sort of a duplication is what I'm saying, you know. It does the same activity.
Yeah.
I got a comment.
Yes?
Hi, here's in a nutshell. I never shared this with anyone yet. I should have. Everyone wonders how often you really should do this. If you're using your computer about an hour a day, there's almost no need, unless you really got a machine that's slowing down on you. Once every 3 months, if you do Malware, CCleaner, Registry Cleaner, and any of the others, the ADW, there's a bunch of other ones out there. Once every 3 months to do the fine tuning is what I like to do on my own stuff, because it's like you could do it every day or every week, but if your machine's running good, you don't need to do it. But to keep it clean enough, if you're using it an hour a day, once every 3 months. If you're using it 3 hours a day, then do it once a month. And that's a good time to run all them cleaners. But like you mentioned, everyone that has CCleaner, To me, that thing popping up in that right-hand corner makes me want to shoot my computer. I can't stand to be told anything. So if you go to the word options up there, on the left, I'll show you a little secret. You click the word options, then you hit the word smart cleaning on the left. By unchecking those two check marks, it don't remind you and tell you to take a breath and clean your computer every time you turn the thing on practically. And that's how you disable that. Just like on Malwarebytes, you can disable all those reminders that really bother some people. Other people like to be reminded, so it's personal.
I think, and I agree that you don't like to be reminded, but most of us don't have the young mind that you have, and we need to be reminded. But anyhow, regarding the C cleaner and the ADW cleaner, I just want to review what I discussed. And to add to what John was saying, if you do use this incognito mode when you're surfing, that's where you get most of your garbage on your computer from the internet, because all of us use the internet for one reason or the other. This morning I'm not going to discuss opening mail or bad mail or whatnot, but you at the same time, before you actually open an attachment, the attachment could be put in your downloads file, and then again right-clicking on it and scan with the antivirus program of your choice, which for most of us is Windows Defender, will reveal if it's a good file or a bad file. So just remember that, because I see my customers all the time suffering from the same fate. You know, they go on the internet, everyone likes to go surfing around, talking, looking at various different sites and whatnot. And wherever you go, the way these people make money is they sell their, if a site is getting a lot of hits, okay, it's a hot site, it goes up online, and these people that want to advertise their garbageware contact them and say, okay, I'll give you X amount of dollars if you put me in with your offer, like card games or all this other garbage. You ever wonder why when you download a card game or something like a travel site or a map or something, or Weather Blink or whatever you want to call it?
Coupons.
Coupons. You're going to get a lot of junk with it, because this is how they make their money. How do you think they make money? You know, people pay them to do that. How do you think Google makes money? People pay them to put them, you know, it's the same thing. It's all done, you know, through the World Wide Web. So, if you just use that incognito mode, whether or not you're using one of the 4 browsers and it's named something different, it will really help you not have to worry about getting infected, because once you close that browser, it's done. You know, I'm going to show you one last thing before I conclude my presentation. If you really have an issue with a computer and it takes your whole screen up, there's 2 things to do. Either you can hold your finger on the power button for 5 seconds until the computer completely shuts down. When you restart the computer, it'll be gone. Or you can hit Control, Alt, and Delete, and it will bring up this blue screen, and you click Task Manager, and it's showing over here that you see the CCleaner is open over here, but it will say either Internet Explorer or Edge or whatnot within the apps at the very top. You're going to highlight it, and then at the very bottom right it says End Task. You see it down here, bottom right, and then it's gone. And so this is a way so you don't have to shut your computer completely down. You can actually close the browser that got infected, and now you can go about your business. It's really that simple. So Control, Alt, Delete, Task Manager, look at the app section at the top. You could write that on your paper that we handed out here. I'm done. If you, any more questions? Yeah?
In the incognito mode, if you open a new page on the plus to the right-hand side,
Yes.
And close the one that was originally open,
Yes.
does that shut everything from, like, does that clean anything that might have stuck on, might have come in, and any garbage?
Yes, if you close that other incognito page, it will.
So
It
each
won't
time-
remember anything.
So each time you open a new page, it forgets, and tells you that it forgets what was on that.
Correct.
I mean, without shutting it
No
down and
history,
opening it again.
no history.
No history, thank you.
I'm not sure if I have the C cleaner, where would I find it?
Just download it.
If you
You
go,
go on your
if you go,
desktop.
yeah, you go to Google search, or whatever search you
Oh,
prefer, like Bing, and you type CC. That's all you do, and then you take the first one at the top, download it. That's it? Oh, yes. Rachel?
I wanted to just make a few suggestions of how the incognito mode can save you money. If you want to read online the New York Times, New Yorker Magazine, Washington Post, they'll give you only a limited number of views that you can have every month. But if you do it on incognito mode when you go to them, and after you close it and go into another incognito mode, you keep restarting that, the number.
The counter, yeah.
It starts the count all over again. So you
Nice.
can read anything you want and not have to pay for the subscriptions.
Awesome, that's great. Very nice. Thank you. That it? Okay. Oh,